I used to publish a magazine all about broadcast technology, radio technology, film technology, lighting, that kind of thing. And a friend of mine worked for a company at film studios just outside London. And he called me up one day and he said, you never guess who's moved in next door with a huge film project? I said, no. He said, it's Stanley Kubrick. And the film that Stanley Kubrick was making, and he'd taken over basically most of the studio complex just outside of London, was Eyes Wide Shut, featuring Tom Cruise. Now, Tom Cruise is an interesting choice because Tom Cruise, it's no secret whatsoever, has had a long-term relationship with a organisation that previously been established by L. Ron Hubbard. Now, L. Ron Hubbard was a science fiction author. He'd collaborated on script ideas for the TV series Star Trek, and was a friend of Jack Parsons, who was a rocket designer, who was one of the guiding lights and one of the founding fathers of Jet Propulsion Labs. And together, L. Ron Hubbard and Jack Parsons conducted a series of magical rituals. And in actual fact, Jack Parsons baptized himself as the Antichrist. And partly this was the subject of my film, which I made in 2006, called The Antichrist Conspiracy, which is the second part of my series of films about the global network of secret societies, which we generally call the Illuminati. So Eyes Wide Shut is really an expose of these super wealthy people in stately homes. They are, if you like, the American Illuminati, the American aristocracy. And in the film you see a form of black mass. And the black mass is traditionally a satanic version of the Catholic mass. And in the film you see characters dressed as cardinals and a character dressed rather like a pope from the medieval era. And it's a ritual of sex magic witnessed by these super wealthy individuals who disguise themselves using masks which are reminiscent of the Venetian masked balls of the medieval era. And sex magic is a very specialized form of magic. It's really bringing together an atmosphere of psychic tension within the temple and combining this with sexual tension and the energy that is given out at the point of orgasm by the people that are taking part. This sexual energy is offered up to a spirit. And of course, in the case of Satanism and various versions of black magic rites, this sexual energy at the point of orgasm is given as a gift to breathe life, as it were, into a demon spirit which is invoked. And at the beginning of the ritual in the film Eyes Wide Shut, we see each of the participants kissing each other. And this is a very common thing that you find in rituals. The high priest or the high priestess would often welcome each initiate to the ritual with a kiss. Now, in black magic, such as the black magic that was practiced by the Knights Templar, and we know for sure that the Knights Templar were involved in very, very dark occultic goings-on, because when the Knights Templar were interrogated, many of them confessed, And one of the confessions was that they used to give each other a sacrilegious kiss. And the high priest of the Knights Templar Order used to bare his buttocks to each of the initiates as they entered the temple. And they used to have to kiss the anus of the high priest. And the other things that used to go on at Knights Templar rituals is spitting and trampling on the cross and denying the existence of Jesus Christ. And also a form of necromancy, which is a form of black magic which involves corpses and invoking spirits, summoning spirits, and then implanting these spirits into a dead body or the severed head of a corpse, and trying to watch muscle movements of this head and receive spiritual communication. And these heads were highly prized, and they were kept in silver caskets, and they became known as Baphomets. So Eyes Wide Shut is one of my all-time favourite films. It's one of the very, very few films which actually shows you what goes on in magical ritual. And it's no secret that the aristocracy throughout the ages have been involved in black magic, and I actually cover these subjects of the royal elite and black magic in my film Murdered by the Monarchy, which is part 3 of my series of films about the Illuminati.
Throughout the ages, the ruling elite have known that man is not alone in the universe. There is archaeological evidence which suggests that long ago, planet Earth was visited by extraterrestrials, and these alien beings have been mythologized as gods into our religious systems. Planet Earth is teeming with life, and every living creature is animated by a spiritual life force. Therefore, any alien life form should also have a spirit. This film exposes for the first time that contact with these alien spirits has been a long-term project for secret societies. Many cults, such as Freemasonry, the Ordo Templi Orientis, and Scientology, claim to be guided by spirits of extraterrestrials, sometimes referred to as the secret chiefs or the hidden masters. A legacy of contact with these alien spirits has inspired many ancient texts, which explain how magic can be used to contact spirits of beings in other parts of the universe. Modern science tells us that space is nothing more than just a dead vacuum. This is not true. An invisible web of energy has been proven to flow throughout the universe, and long ago it was called the ether. Planets alive. Space is populated by millions of planets, and each planet is a super living organism. Planets exist in space with a huge number of organisms which coexist in a symbiotic relationship, creating and recycling the atmosphere and soils of each planet. Planet Earth, like all planets, is therefore a super living organism, and because our planet is alive, just like one of us, our planet also has a spirit. Every living thing has a spirit, and that includes bacteria, viruses, trees, plants, insects, birds, fungus, and even flowers. These are mostly called nature or elemental spirits. In fact, there is a hierarchy of spirits in the spirit world, which has its own aristocracy of senior angels, and yes, at its lowest levels, evil spirits, a place called hell, which also has a hierarchy of demonic dukes, princes, and kings.
Discovery, we still have the alien spacecraft under appearance.
In 1996, NASA astronaut Story Musgrave filmed a strange creature living in the upper atmosphere of planet Earth. Professor John Mack of Harvard University published statistics which report that millions of people have been abducted by alien beings. If the video evidence collected by NASA astronauts is correct, and alien creatures do actually exist, then it is highly likely that these alien creatures will also have a spirit, just like humans. When our physical bodies have worn out, our spirit leaves the body and returns to the spirit world. The spirit world is what Buddhists call true reality. This is where the spirits of all living things in the universe live. It is divided into different planes, often called the astral planes. This is where our spirits dwell and then recycle themselves on the fabled wheel of life, eventually returning to the physical world in a fresh new body. Mystics throughout history, especially in the Holy Lands, have tried to describe the mystifying, strange, and complex world of the astral planes. The Kabbalah is a collection of texts which are forbidden to be studied before the age of 40. Kabbalistic texts describe the spirit world as the Yen Welt. The Kabbalah teaches that there are different, invisible, parallel universes which intersect our own reality. Indeed, it is the astral world where the two strange worlds of human spirituality and the spirits of extraterrestrials meet. Buddhists teach reincarnation, and that means that some of us may very well be incarnated not only into just another physical body, but a body which lives on another planet. The sheer vast complexity of the spirit world is the same as the immense hugeness of the physical universe. The world of modern physics is dominated by Jewish theorists. Modern physics often put forward theories which have come straight from the pages of the Kabbalah. According to the mystical author Helena Blavatsky, the fabled kingdom of Atlantis was destroyed by groups of magicians who summoned demonic forces, eventually destroying a prehistoric civilization, which, some people believe, had crystal, plasma, electrical, and psychic technologies that eventually were used by the pharaohs of Egypt to build awe-inspiring buildings using giant granite blocks which even today's largest cranes would not be able to lift. According to Helena Blavatsky, the technologies used in Egypt were powered by energy drawn directly from the cosmos and the spirit world. Right now, billions of people are living in ignorance, whilst right before their very eyes they watch the physical world being manipulated into violent violence, war, and chaos. Many rulers of the world are members of secret societies who summon demons and devils from the lower planes of the spirit world. The rituals of cults such as the Golden Dawn, World International Freemasonry, and the Knights Templar all originated with the teachings of the Kabbalah. The royal political elite have giant libraries, such as the Beinecke Archive of Rare Books at Yale University, which teach them how to summon forth and command the negative forces of the universe. We live in a democratic dictatorship. It is a dictatorship run by people who perform rituals. It is a dictatorship run by people who privately summon demons. That sounds difficult to believe, but it is the truth. Cuneiform tablets and cylinder seals made in ancient Iraq, the former kingdom of Babylon, tell the story of two extraterrestrial star gods coming to Earth and genetically manipulating mankind. These alien star gods were called Enlil and Enki. Their alien race was called the Anunnaki, which roughly translated means princes of the royal genetic seed. Worship of these alien beings takes many forms, and the royal political elite have built special temples and lodges all over planet Earth, where ceremonies are performed to invoke the spirit of the Anunnaki and other extraterrestrials. This film is about something so obvious that it stares us right in the face, but is never discussed openly. That is, that on every continent of planet Earth, there are giant temples which are aligned to the stars and planets. These temples are actually astronomical calculators, space observatories, and more importantly, they are places devoted to magical ritual. Massive stone temple complexes all over the world, from Cambodia to Mexico, were built for the same reason. These temples were used to summon spirits. The pyramids of Giza are actually astronomical computers, which are no less sophisticated for their time than our computers are for our age. These temples exactly gauge the precise movements of planets, stars, and constellations, so that elaborate magical rituals can be performed at specific times. This film exposes some of the highest secrets of the Kabbalah, Freemasonry, the Knights Templar, and the global network of secret societies loosely described as the Illuminati. These cults have perverted ancient rituals and now summon not just gods or angels, nor even just spirits of their ancestors, but these cults are summoning demons, and some believe they are even summoning the devil himself. The highest secret of the Hebrew Kabbalah, Aleister Crowley's Ordo Templi Orientis, and L. Ron Hubbard's Scientology cults is that magical ritual can be used to contact not only angels and demons, but also the spirits of extraterrestrials who inhabit other parts of the universe. One of the best sources of information about the spirit world comes from Eastern mystical author Swami Panchadasai. Swami Panchadasai's book, entitled The Astral World, was first printed in 1915. By understanding the spirit world, we can understand the goal of magical ritual performed by the global network of secret societies, witch covens, Freemasons, and Kabbalists. The spirit world is every bit as real as the physical world which we inhabit. Magical ceremonies work like computer programs, repeating the names of spirits in particular orders, just like a computer language is actually a list of commands. These ancient rituals unlock the subconscious mind and open telepathic gateways to the spirit world. Sadhus, Sufis, and Gurus are Eastern mystics who teach that there are 7 great astral planes in the spirit world. The number 7 has therefore become one of the most important occult numbers. The lowest of these 7 astral planes is the so-called material plane, which is the physical world we live in. The second plane is called the plane of forces and is unlike the other 7 planes, as it contains the forces of nature, such as electricity, heat, light, kinetic energy, gravity, and the atomic forces which Jewish scientists discovered when they split the atom. In 1943, Robert Oppenheimer's team calculated the forces which would be unleashed from splitting a single atom. They became concerned that a global chain reaction would take place, igniting all the hydrogen and gases in the Earth's atmosphere, and thus incinerating the entire planet. Nevertheless, funded by politicians and military officers who are traditionally members of Kabbalistically inspired secret societies, Robert Oppenheimer and his team of mostly Jewish physicists went ahead and exploded the first atomic bomb, which ripped apart the finer atomic forces of nature for the first time, creating a catastrophic shockwave, not just in the physical world, but also in the spirit world. The so-called Cold War created a worldwide psychological war of terror in the minds of every man, woman, and child, threatening to completely annihilate every living creature and even the planet itself in an orgy of atomic destruction.
We knew the world would not be the same. Few people laughed. Few people cried. Most people were silent. I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds."
The third plane of the spirit world is the so-called astral plane. The word astral is derived from Greek, and it refers to the stars. Next is the fourth plane, often described as the mental plane. In addition to these four planes, there are three higher planes which are extremely difficult to comprehend to anyone who is on the lower four planes. Contemplation of these higher astral planes is the goal of many Buddhists. The higher planes are what Christians call heaven. Throughout history, Freemasons, Knights Templars, Satanists, Magi, wizards, shamans, voodoo doctors, Kabbalists, monks, and even popes have engaged in magical ritual in order to contact the spirits of dead people, demons, and the elemental spiritual forces of nature which reside on the astral planes. The spirit world, with its 7 individual astral planes, surround planet Earth, interpenetrating each other like a vast onion, where each layer of the spirit world vibrates at different frequencies. These frequencies correlate to the 7 astral planes of the spirit world and can actually be seen by clairvoyant people. These people have often been described as mediums, prophets, and oracles. One of the most successful prophets in recent times was Dr. Nostradamus, who used powdered nutmeg and other hallucinogenic herbs to aid his visions of the spirit world. In fact, the Holy Bible lists more than 30 hallucinogenic plants which are used in rituals around the world to see into the spirit world.
Swear. Swear that you will never speak with anyone other than those who have been initiated about what I will teach you. If you break this oath, you will be killed, not by the Inquisition, but by one of us. Do you understand?
I swear.
Now, notice how the catch works. You will use it while I'm away. These books. Here is Al-Khasalas's work, The Elixir of Bliss, in his own hand. There. Scriptures of the Kabbalah. Solomon's Key. Many of them had the power to see the future. You must learn how they did that, so you can decipher your dreams. Nothing is accidental. Everything is according to God's law.
What is that?
It leads to the inner secret in yourself, and there you will see the future.
Not me.
Partly. I will tell you the exact formula later. You must be very careful. Too much can be poisonous. You have to let your body get used to it slowly. But then, your visions will be clearer.
What is that?
It's from our friend Leonardo. A machine that drives underwater. And this. An explosion greater than anything we know.
Psilocybin mushrooms are common in Northern Europe and were the ritual drug of choice for druids and Nordic shamans. So-called magic mushrooms, henbane, hemlock, belladonna, mandrake, Syrian rue, hashish, fermented honey, and, of course, opium, have all been used to see the spirit world. Mystics living in underground temples in ancient Greece ate fermented honey cakes in order to have visions of spirits. To this day, beehives are a secret symbol of Masonic lodges, which are part of the Bavarian Illuminati. Adam Weishaupt and the leaders of the Bavarian Illuminati ate hashish during rituals, a practice which was popular amongst the Jesuits of the Alumbrados cult in Spain. The effects of hallucinogenic plants, especially plants which contain DMT, dimethyltryptamine, reveal a very fine, transparent lattice which can sometimes be seen actually binding the objects and beings around you into a mesh of reality. This is known as the veil. And it can sometimes be seen shimmering and vibrating like a gossamer dusting over all surfaces. Shamans and magicians who use these hallucinogenic plants during rituals train their third eye, which is a term that refers to the ability to see spirits on the astral planes. The whole of planet Earth is covered with energy, which is known as the ether. This flows across the sky like an invisible weather system. According to Sir Oliver Lodge, one of the pioneer inventors of radio, the ether is actually a spiritual domain, and it interconnects with planets and stars right across the universe. The ether is the unseen, sacred life force which mystics speak of around the world.